Catherine.
Present.
Donald Lowenfield.
Present.
Alderman Miller.
Here. Present.
Charles Taylor.
Here.
Vince Bettis is late. And Laura Searles.
Here.
Who am I missing? Who else is, do I need to call out?
You have everybody? Oh, Mr. Minna.
Eduardo Mena. I'm sorry, Mr. Mena.
Yeah.
Present.
I had you
Okay, I
marked
think
on
that's
mine.
everybody. So if you want to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, you can. If not, I'll get it started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do the Texas pledge.
Okay.
Honor the
I pledge the flag.
I
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, so the first thing on the agenda is staff recognition, 20 years of service. Do we have everybody that we're going to honor today at their front office?
Board members, what we would like to do is I'm going to read the names and their years. We did recognize them in a manager's meeting yesterday, but I would like for them to be able to come back at a time when everybody's back in the boardroom so that they can get their pictures taken with you and can be recognized, face to face. I'm hoping that, within the next couple of months, we'll be able to do that. They all agreed. They wanted to do it that way also. So if it's all right, I'll just read in their names and their years for your information, and then we'll bring them back at another time. We have 20 years of service. Danny Bentley. Danny Bentley is one of our leads in our Deeds and Exemptions Department. We have Guadalupe Berjon. She is part of our Human Resources Department. She is one of the ones that was awesome this year in being outside in the sun, taking everybody's temperature and having them sign in before they came into the building. She's been here 20 years. Lorena Castaneda, she is another awesome employee, has been with us 20 years and is one of our main answers or phone calls. She can answer pretty much any question anybody has when they call in. And, of course, Gabrielle Melendez, our HR manager. She's here 20 years, and we plan to keep her another 20. So I'm not even going to let her come up and say hi. 25 years of service is Imelda Osborne. She's in our litigation group. And then 30 years of service is a wonderful lady by the name of Bertha Johnson. Started out as a clerk, and she's one of our field specialists. Goes out into the field and measures houses and gets the information. So these are some very awesome employees, and they really wanted to be when the board is here so that they can meet you in person. And so we're going to try and bring them back later if that's all right with the board. I would also like to take this moment. I was going to address it in my director's report, but because we do have some people here, I wanted to address it now. Our Appraisal Review Board department, our ARB department, did an outstanding, awesome job with handling the different types of protests and the different issues that we had with new legislation and with COVID. And I'd like to recognize Mr. Tony Delgado. He is the coordinator for that department. He's been here 13 years. His top lead is a woman by the name of Terry Mendoza, who's been here 14 years. Marian Chando, who's been here 22 years. She's another top lead in that department. She started out in data entry. We have Pam Johnson, who's been here 14 years. Lucy Lopez, who's been here 11 years. Dayanara Ortega, 9 years. Rosa Moya, 1 year. And Ismael Ramirez has been here 5 months. He's brand new, and he jumped right in and took care of the customers with all the social distancing that we were having to do. And having people wait out in their cars, it was just amazing. So I wanted to recognize them. I also wanted to recognize our ARB, our Appraisal Review Board chair, secretary, and members. Don't always agree with what they do, but I can tell you this. They showed up. They were here. We only had 7 of the ARB members that did not want to be able to come in to the building. We had 2 that had a medical procedure, but then came back and was here. Michael Briggs and Fred Munoz are the officers for this year. Next year, Sylvia Calderon and Philip Gonzalez will be the officers. And I will say, these people are mostly retirees, and they came in, they abided by the rules of the building. They had their temperature taken, they wore masks. They were here, they did not, they did their social distancing. They were just really awesome. So since we were making some recognitions, I wanted to throw them out there. Thank you, board members, for allowing me to do that.
Thank you, Director Kilgore. We look forward to recognizing them, and we appreciate their work. Thank you for mentioning all of their names. Moving on to agenda item number 2 for public hearing. This is required by section 6.051 of the Texas Property Code. Do we have anybody for public comment today?
We have 2 public comments. One, the public hearing is for the reappraisal plan, and we do not have anybody signed up for a public hearing for the reappraisal plan for 2021-2022.
Very good. Moving on to agenda item number 3 for public hearing. In order to comply with the efficiency of public hearing, regular agenda item, the EPCAD Board of Directors will limit said public comment to 5 minutes per item unless the majority of a quorum of the board votes to allow more time for a given item. Public comment requires no action from the board. So there is no public comment for number 3 as well?
Yes, sir.
Agenda item number 3?
Yes, sir. There is public comment for number 3. Mr. Mark Salazar would like public comment. Mr. Salazar, if you'd like to come up.
Good afternoon. Thank you, members of the board, staff, for allowing me this time for public comment. My name is Mark Salazar. I'm a retired teacher. I'm here because I'd like to talk a little bit about a scam that happened to a friend of mine, a close friend of mine. And after so many years, you may have heard of this before, but please bear with me if it's repetitious to you. My friend who lives in the Northeast, I have 2 copies of some of my paperwork here for the board members if you'd like to follow, and there are more copies that we can get to you later afterwards if you'd like to see what I'm talking about. My friend received this postcard refund notification saying that he was had a recovery amount of $1,203.36. He received this postcard from Austin, Texas in February, and it was asked to call this number. On the back, it has some more information, but it says the amount was obtained and confirmed through public records. You could lose your money. Your refund could be lost or forgotten. You must act to recover these funds, and you have this approaching deadline, and this is 100% free, no out-of-pocket expense. You will not owe anything if our services do not result in the recovery. We called, and I assist my friend because he has several problems. One of them is that he's dyslexic. He's severely dyslexic. He did turn 65 last year in 2019 in August, and this situation has a lot to do with that. So we called, and apparently these were lawyers' offices in Austin, and they didn't give much information. They just said, well, we'll tell you more about it. We'll send a notary public out to the house. After a while, the notary public called, made an appointment, and he went out to the house, to my friend's house, and and my friend called me and told me that he was coming, so I ended up going over there. By the time I got there, the interview was over, and my friend had already signed some forms on the Notary Public's tablet. I asked what it was about, what had happened, and the Notary Public explained to me that it was a refund that was due to my friend because he had turned 65 and he had overpaid on his property taxes for that year. So he was entitled to a refund because of the age 65 exemption that they're entitled to, and he was entitled to a $600 refund. And he was also entitled to another $600 refund for his 2020 taxes, which would be at the end of this year, which he has not paid yet, and he pays his taxes in January of each year, so he has not paid those yet. So I tried to get a little more information from the Notary Public, but he was in a hurry and left. I asked him, is there a fee? And he said, don't worry about it. Eddie is my friend's name. He's going to get a check in about 2 months. This takes a while. So after about a couple of months, we were wondering about it, and my friend was happy. Yeah, he was going to get $1,200, and he was a little suspicious. There's things that go on, and he couldn't believe that he was going to get some money back. But there was no copy of anything that was left. The Notary Public, like I said, he left. He said there was no fee and there was no that my friend was going to get a check in 2 months. So anyway, after a few months, we checked. We were wondering about it, and we ended up calling the property tax office here at the city. And the city, the ladies said, yeah, we did send that check. I asked, what happened to the check? She said, yeah, we did send it. And I said, how come my friend didn't get it? And then she said, well, did your friend sign some paperwork from this agency? Yes. Apparently he had signed some paperwork, and it was from this Refund Advisory Corps. And the property tax lady said, your friend gave permission for us to send the check to them. And, I was pretty upset about it. I said, well, what's going on here? And she couldn't tell me anymore. She said, you're going to have to call them. So we called them again, and I spoke to a secretary over there, and she said, at first they couldn't find the information. So I got very upset. I said, you got his check, and you don't have his information. You can't even find his records. And so I got upset and, yelled at him a little, and eventually hung up. But she kept calling back, and eventually got back to me, and they said they did find the records. And then so I was able to get to them and say, well, what happened with this? You got this check. How much did you get? And she said, we got $600. And I said, well, when is my friend going to get his money? And she said, well, apparently you don't understand, wasn't it explained to you that the lawyer charges a fee for this? And I said, no, we had no idea. Anyway, it turns out that the fee is 1/2 of the $1,200. So they received the whole $600 check. That was 1/2 of the $1,200 that supposedly these lawyers helped him recover. $600 for the 2019 and $600 which he hasn't even paid yet. But the lawyer kept $600. That was his fee. So I come to you today because that is a scam, and my friend, he's poor, he's dyslexic, he didn't understand, he didn't have any copies of anything. The Notary Public went over there, got everything signed on the tablet, took off, and so this is a scam. I just like to ask this board to please do something about this and help people. I don't know how many people are scammed like this. I don't know how many people have you heard of this.
Your time is up.
My time is up. if I can just ask you to notify people before there's 65 and notify people of this scam and stop this, please. I'd like to tell you more about it. My time is up. I apologize. But, you know, even the city, when they're sending out checks to this Refund Advisory Corporation, they should know these are people that are receiving money that should go to the property owner, not to these scammers. So thank you for your time. If you need any information or any questions, please notify me. Thank you.
Mr. Avalos?
Mr. Pettis is here, so I'd like to see the meeting back to him.
Okay. Commissioner Pettis, I know we don't usually respond to public comment, but I feel like the board needs to get a little information regarding this issue. I'll leave it up to the board.
You go ahead.
Okay. He's exactly right. Mr. Salazar is right. There are companies out there. The Attorney General is involved in some of these companies. Some have been sanctioned and fined by the Attorney General, but they are allowed by law to have a business that can go to property owners and try to convince them to let them get the refund. And basically what they do is the property owner signs over authority to this company to handle all their tax matters. So they get everything. We've posted on our website, whenever we go anywhere, we always tell everybody on the exemptions, we have it on there. This is free. You just contact us. When somebody turns over 65, if we already have them as a homestead, we already have their birth date, we will send them the application for the over 65. But unfortunately, these companies, be it that they may be legal, are very unscrupulous. That's my personal opinion. I agree with Mr. Salazar. But there is nothing we can do to stop them. We try to get everything we can out there to everybody, letting them know that there are exemptions. If you go to our website, under frequently asked questions and on some of the other sections, it says, this is a free service. Do not pay for this. Whenever we get anything from the Attorney General on a company, we post that on our website so people are aware of that. We can't catch everybody. I went to speak at a group one time, and I had a woman said that she just mailed a check in to have somebody do that. And she, while I was there, called the bank and stopped payment on the check. They are legally allowed to go in and have a property owner sign over authority to them to handle all their tax matters. Once they get the refund, then they may, after a year, drop that authority, and the property owner has no idea what has happened. So I agree with him. It is an issue. I think it's a legislative issue that needs to have some kind of teeth in it, because there is nothing that an appraisal district or a tax office can do if they have the document that says that this is where the refund check has to go. So I agree with him. I think maybe we need to speak with our legislators. You board members have connections with some of our representatives, and say that this is becoming a very big issue. In January, we received stacks and stacks of homestead applications. We send out letters to all new homeowners telling them, file for your exemptions. We have everything online. We send out the over 65 forms. But these guys are unscrupulous. They go door to door and knock on the doors. Our information is public information, so they use our website. They use other tax websites that are paid websites. They use Zillow. They use all the websites that are out there to find out who maybe bought a home, or who may have had a home for a long time that may possibly be over 65. And they guarantee money that is not even at a point where they should be getting it. 2020 taxes, the bills haven't even gone out. It'll be his exemption, but will be reflected on his bill, so there won't be any refund. So I totally agree. I wish there was something we could do here. We are constantly putting out information. One of the things we do is we send out a postcard the last 3 years. We've sent out postcards to everybody who has an exemption here in the county, asking them if there's been a change in their exemption to notify us, to call us, to email us that this is a free service, let us help you. So Mr. Salazar's right, it is a problem. What the answer is, I think, is stronger legislation so that there's teeth in it so that when somebody does do this to someone, there is recourse on the property owner to file and get their money back against the company. These are lawyers. They know all the ins and outs. There's a CPA firm out of Dallas that does it. These are folks that know the law and they know the loopholes. So, yes, sir, Mr. Ted, I'm sorry.
This is clearly a criminal act. And it seems that you said it was brought to the Attorney General's attention.
Some of them have been brought.
Have the Attorney General furnished an opinion on what's going on?
A couple of years ago, there was a company, it was brought to the Attorney General's opinion that noticed that they were filing protests and documentation on property owners that had not given them the right to do it. And the Attorney General issued an opinion plus a fine. But it has to be brought up to the Attorney General. Each instance is acted on alone because Attorney General doesn't make the laws. But they act on each incident that's brought up to them.
But
Dinah,
there's got to be
I
a
think
process
I can see.
to stop that.
I can see Joe looking at me here. So, I mean, the board members typically aren't allowed to engage in public comment, but we appreciate the comment and your feedback.
Okay. Thank you, board members.
Are there any other speakers for public comment?
No, sir, that's all.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think you need to recognize that you joined the meeting at 5:09. We need that on record.
Sure thing.
Okay.
I joined the meeting at 5:09. And thank you.
Well, it was before public comment, so that we have that in there.
Okay. Thank you, Freddie, for starting the meeting. Next item is the approval and signing of the minutes from May 21st, 2020. If everyone is fine with the minutes, is there a motion?
This is Miller, so moved.
A second.
Motion by Alderman Miller, second by Trustee Lucero. Is there any member of the board who does not approve this item? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Next item. The approval of financial reports for April, May, and June 2020.
Good evening, Rosa Goldman, Chief Financial Officer. We are presenting the financial report for April, May, and June 2020. The financial report contains the balance sheet, report of revenues, expenditures, and changes in cash balance, investment report, and the note to the financial report. If we look at the first month that we are presenting, which is April, and if you look at the third page, we see that we had an account that was over budget, and it was due to COVID-19, the deep cleaning and sanitizing of the building. For the next month, which was May, you look at the third page of May, the note to the financial report states, again, over budget is the janitorial. For the same reason, we are now over budget $38,750 due to the COVID-19 cleaning and sanitizing. Then we have the account building improvements, over budget by $727 due to the barrier gate that was installed in the front parking lot. And then we have the building equipment, also over budget by $9,998 due to the exterior surveillance cameras. And then we have the postage and mailing account over budget by $27,578. But this is just due to timing, meaning the following month of June is going to be reversed and is not over budget. So let's go to June. Again, the third page of June. The note to the financial report. We have the same accounts over budget. The building, the janitorial, by $40,527. The building improvement didn't change. It's the same amount, $727. And the asset building equipment, same amount, $9,998 as in the previous month. So there was no change there. And as you can see, the postage mailing is now well within the budget. The encumbered funds for litigation reserve is the same amount that has been the entire fiscal year. Nothing has been taken out of that account. So we still have a balance of $579,448. Are there any questions?
Any questions from board members?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve
Okay.
the financial reports for April, May, and June of 2020.
This is Walter. Walter Miller, and it's just a question. I understand the over budget items, but as we have discussed in the budget process, there is no reserve to cover these, and so. What was the process for covering the overages? Obviously necessary, but are you going to have to take from other line items, or how do you cover these expenses where you don't have a reserve to go to?
Yeah, that's correct. We just go to the other line items because there are many line items that are not over budget, that are well under budget. So we go by the total of the budget. So there is money. Overall, there is enough money to cover for these overages in these particular accounts.
And anything that's under COVID, what we're doing is we're taking from the line items first, and then we're going into the COVID money that you had approved us in May to be able to utilize. But to do it transparently and through accounting processes, procedures, is it comes out of the line item first. Then we go into the contingency COVID that you guys, the board approved.
Okay, so that this will still meet our contingency COVID
Yes,
is still adequate for what we need to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? There's a motion by Trustee Searles. If there's no questions, is there a second?
I second that. Mr. Mena.
Thank you.
There's a Trustee Mena. A second. Okay. Are there any members of the board who do not approve of this item? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Next item is discussion and possible action regarding EPCAD's health and dental insurance renewal.
Yes, sir. And we do have Mike Dennis in here to give you. We did email everybody the final results of his research with the numbers for our health care. It expires October 1st. We always try to bring it to the board so we have plenty of time so that we have time to be able to sign up our employees and staff and what have you. Remember last year we went with Blue Cross Blue Shield because they gave us a really good discount. So we're still starting at a really good number.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Dennis with Compass Benefits. I am the benefits broker for El Paso Central Appraisal District. Hopefully you have received 3 files from the district. One is the recommendation letter. The second one is the benefits spreadsheet with alternate quotes, and also the carrier list. This year, unfortunately, we had a very, very high claims year. We had a loss ratio of about 115%. What that means is that for every dollar Blue Cross Blue Shield collects as premium, they are paying $1.15 as claims. Okay. Due to the high claims this year, Blue Cross initially came with a 26% renewal. They wanted to increase the rate by 26. After long negotiations, we have cut that down to 15.5%. We have also gone out to the insurance market. We went to 27 different carriers, and we have received about 8 proposals. Most of the carriers declined to quote. And here's a good example of the reason why that they declined to quote. This email is from Mr. Vincent Humphreys. He is a representative from Humana. This email was sent Thursday, August 6th, 2020, 10:32 a.m. It says, initial medical review shows us a very uncompetitive. UW underwriter is calling for roughly a 59% increase over current due to redacted information. Because of that, we are declining to quote due to being uncompetitive. And that is the primary reason why majority of the carriers refuse to quote this year. And on top of that, unfortunately, the proposals that we have received, they were not competitive. If you look at the spreadsheet, I have proposed 2 companies, TML, Texas Municipal League, and they gave us a fully insured quote. The benefits are lower than the current benefits. For example, currently the deductible for the health insurance plan is $1,000, but for the TML pool is $1,500. The out-of-pocket maximum currently is $4,500. TML pool is $5,000. The drug benefits, the co-insurance are higher. Even the benefits are lower than the current benefits with Blue Cross Blue Shield. The rates are $863 versus a renewal of $738 from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And also the TPA quote in the last column. That TPA quote is a combination of a TPA proposal. Also, on top of that is a stop-loss reinsurance proposal. All right? The number $872.74 does not include the laser clause that the stop-loss provided for this district. What a laser is if an insurance company, stop-loss carrier, feel that there is too much of a risk for this district to make an offer, they say for a certain condition, we will increase the deductible. Meaning, for that particular condition, the much higher deductible needs to be met before the stop-loss carrier provides any dollars back. And that amount is about $450,000. So if you include the laser to this $872 figure, we're talking about over $200 more per person for coverage. Even though 15.5% seems a little high, I think right now this year, how the claims ran, Blue Cross is providing you a very, very, very good offer. We really don't have another carrier to fall back on. And
talk about the discounts that they're offering
definitely.
us.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
Blue Cross is offering us some additional discounts.
And what the discounts Blue Cross is offering is that if you were to switch over the group dental insurance over to Blue Cross, they will provide you with a percentage off discount. Their dental insurance is a little bit higher than what you currently have. For the same level of benefits, the rate is $2.53 per employee more. However, a percent discount On the group insurance, medical insurance side, you're saving over $7.38. So overall, you are saving money on the insurance employee benefits program. Also, if you were to switch over the group life insurance, you also receive another discount of another percentage, another $7.38 off on the employee-only rate. Our recommendation is to remain with Blue Cross Blue Shield and switch over the group life and also the group dental insurance to Blue Cross Blue Shield so you can get further discounts on the medical insurance. Yes, sir.
I just wonder, when reading the letter from Compass, the sentence that says, unfortunately, CAD experienced high claim utilization this year.
Yes.
What does that mean?
What that means, Mr. Taylor, is we had some employees that had a very major health issue that we cannot talk about because of HIPAA. We're a small group, so when you have even one person that has a major problem, it is something the insurance companies look at. That's what that means. So we did have a very high claim this year, and the insurance companies do look at that. Okay, that's what that means.
That wasn't the rising cost of health care.
No, sir. No, sir.
So
we
need to know that.
Right. No, it's not a rising cost of health care, but we are expecting that going into next year because of the COVID issues with the insurance companies. So the rate of the $723, we're saving overall $84 from the initial quote. And last year, if we had stayed with TML, we would have been paying $790 last year. But remember, Blue Cross came in and offered us an entry discount. So we're still very much in line with what we budgeted. In fact, we still are under what is currently in our budget for 2020, 2021. So we feel staying with the plan, being able to roll over the plan is going to be very cost effective for us, and it's going to be easier to maintain with the employees. So that's our recommendation. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Commissioner Pettis, I didn't know if you saw Mr. Taylor raise his hand.
No, I did. It's a small screen on my. I have everybody out.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes, questions?
Alderman Miller, do you have a question? Okay.
No, I the explanation. I know that healthcare costs are going up a little bit. Anyway, we're doing the same thing with our entity, so I understand that part of it. I have no reason to object to the recommendation.
I move to approve the administration's recommendation of Blue Cross Blue Shield for the district's health insurance plan, group dental, and group life insurance.
I second that.
Okay. There's a motion and a second by Trustee Searles and Trustee Mena. Did everybody get I can't repeat it verbatim, but essentially to go with staff recommendation for Blue Cross Blue Shield for both healthcare and dental.
And group life.
And group life.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. With the motion and a second, are there any members who do not approve of this item as stated? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion passes.
Thank you, board members, and staff really appreciates you looking into this and taking time to consider them. We appreciate it very much.
All right. Next item is the discussion and possible action regarding printer service contract.
Board, currently we have a contract with Dayhill, who's been bought out by Xerox to provide maintenance and toner for all the printers in the building. It was a 3-year contract. It's due to expire in November. There's a 60-day limit that if we choose not to renew the contract, we have to notify them 60 days in advance. That's why we're coming to you so early with this. We went out and we got 3 quotes. One was from Spectrum, one was from Dayhill, and one was from another company called COT. In your agenda, I provided a chart that shows the monthly charge that each company is wanting to charge us. This is for another 3-year contract. The main differences between the proposals is Spectrum is not going to charge us any overage due to volume of copies printed, whereas Dayhill and COT are. As I put in the additional information, in the last full year that we have expenses for, we ended up with approximately $1,300 of overage charges over and above the base contract amount. So although Spectrum has the highest, or Dayhill has a less expensive monthly base charge, when you factor in the potential for the overages, Spectrum actually ends up being the least expensive option. Now, as part of this contract, Spectrum's going to replace all of our existing printers, which are all 3 years old, with HP printers. Currently, we have Brother printers. And Spectrum is eligible under the DIR contract. And they are going to provide original manufacturer toner. In the past, we've had issues with substitute generic toners that were exploding in the printers, so we don't use those anymore. We try to get original equipment manufacturer toner at all possible. So the recommendation from the staff is to sign a 3-year contract with Spectrum to provide the toner and printer maintenance. We had $39,000 budgeted. It's actually going to be $40,656, and we're hoping to make up the difference by savings on some of our other maintenance contracts that come up for renewal.
Board members, some of you that are new, just to let you know, when a property owner comes in, when we're talking about the overages of copies that we have to make, when a property owner comes in for a hearing and they bring in their evidence, we have to copy all of that evidence and all of those photographs, because we have to have a copy on file with the ARB and for their records. They can leave us original, but they either can take a copy back or take the original. We have to keep it. So it is, the overage cost is quite astronomical when you look at it that way. So that's another reason why we really would like to go with Spectrum, because there would be no overage charges. And we do a lot of copies for the public. And we can't charge for that because it is for their hearing, and they're entitled to it.
So the new contract is 1,600 or 1,656 over budget for the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a minimal amount. We are very confident that we'll be able to get it from one of our other maintenance machinery equipment overages.
Okay.
Or
Any questions
underages.
from board? Okay. Is there a motion to?
Sure, I move to approve.
Okay, that's to go with Spectrum?
Yes.
Okay.
Second, Trimble.
Okay. There's a motion by Trustee Searles and a second by Mr. Trimble. Are there any members?
Sorry.
Are there any members who do not approve of this item, as stated? Any abstentions? Motion passes.
Thank you, board members. Some of these contracts we have, they have such an early, 60, 90 day that we have to notify. So that's why we have to come in so early on these.
Okay. Next item is discussion and possible action regarding the reappraisal plan for 2021 and 2022.
Board members, this is required under the property tax code. It's a biennial plan that is for 2 years. The appraisal districts are mandated to notify taxing entities and the public of what our plan is for the next 2 years and where we plan to spend the monies that you have allocated us in the budget. So the reappraisal plan is set up as to what we're going to be reappraising, what areas are we going to be looking at. It has data. All of y'all received it the first week of August. I believe we emailed it to everybody or hand delivered. It is something that is required. It has to be reviewed and approved by the board before September 15th. And since our September meeting is after that date, we did get dinged 1 year on our maps review because we did it the day we did it was the day of our board meeting, and we turned it in the next day and they said we were a day late. So we're now a month early, almost. Y'all have received it. It is basically our floor plan of what we're going to be doing the next 2 years. There is language in there that if we have to change it due to unseen circumstances, i.e. COVID was one of them, or may have to go in and look at another area because of some form of a disaster or an issue, we can address that. So it's something that has to be done every 2 years.
Diana, I know in previous years, I mean, we've asked for if there was a presentation just going over the plan in summaries. Is there anything like that this year aside from the plan itself?
No, we really didn't do that this year because of how hard it is to do these meetings. We did get them out there earlier for you. Basically, in the plan, the main thing to be able to point out to you in the plan is the amendment that we did to cover the COVID or any other disasters. That is brand new. The rest of the plan is basically the same plan, but it has the new numbers. It has the weighted mean and the coefficient of dispersion ratios that we have to have. That's on page 7. That shows where we are in the different neighborhoods in El Paso County. We have a calendar of what we're going to be doing during certain months of the year. That's on page 17 for your perusal. It is basically the same plan with the numbers updated based on what we have done the last 2 years. The plan does split out the different areas that we're going to be looking at, but I will tell you this, 2021 is a total reappraisal year for all property. Because of the economic issues with businesses being closed down, it is addressed in the plan. We will be looking at continuing a reappraisal for 2022 and 2023 going into 2024. And the plan does allow us to be able to do that. You can talk.
Page 10 is a nutshell.
Yeah. If you look at page 10 of your plan, it does kind of give you an overview of where we're going to be and what year in 2021 and 2022. It's not a plan that the Board of Directors puts together. It's a plan the Appraisal District puts together to show the entities. The Board of Directors approves our budget to be able to do this. And now this is showing the entities and the public what we're doing with that budget. Not line item by line item because we don't know, but it's the overall plan of what we're going to be doing.
Questions or comments? Okay.
We just need y'all to prove it.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I move. I'll second.
There's a motion by Trustee Mena and a second by Trustee Searles. If there's no questions or comments from board members, is there Or is there any board member who does not approve of this item? I'll actually be voting no, and the reason being just because in previous years we have asked, or the previous time this was approved, we did ask for a presentation from staff, just for greater transparency. This is even though it's routine and it's sort of something that the board approves every couple of years, it's important that for the sake of transparency that the public's able to digest something or there be a presentation so that it's just clearly more digestible for the public, and it's just I'll be voting no on this item.
For the board's information, this is will be on our website. The current one is on our website. This will be on the website, and all of the taxing entities will receive a copy.
All right. Hearing none. Any abstentions? Motion passes. Next item is the report on civil lawsuits.
Board members, if you want to sit down. In your packet, we emailed you the lawsuits that our litigation department has been working on. And Albert Molina is going to give you an update on these. We're not going to go over item by item. You did get them in your packet, so if you have any questions, you can definitely ask us at this time.
Good evening. My name is Albert Molina. I'm the Director of Litigation and Appeals here at the Appraisal District. And the litigation department basically handles any litigation against the Appraisal District concerning value. Since 2015, there's been 1,513 lawsuits filed against the Appraisal District. Currently, there are 347 still active out there that have not been settled. And out of this 347, there's 1,163 properties that involves in these lawsuits. The certified value for those properties right now is $2,487,492. I'm sorry, $4,497,492,512, which is approximately about $70 million in taxes, in actual taxes, for all the entities involved. For the coming year, we anticipate between 250 to 300 lawsuits being filed. But this afternoon, we heard from one of the process servers that there's approximately 900 lawsuits filed against the Appraisal District. And I'm hoping that that's not true.
Yeah.
So, and besides, on the mediations, besides most of these properties are settled based on mediations. And since January, we've had 141 lawsuits that were scheduled for mediation. And most of those lawsuits, most of the mediation sessions concern 12 to 15 lawsuits in each session. And each session is costing us about $2,500 per session. On the spreadsheet that you got for May, June, and July, in May, the certified value that we had was $93,690,988. That was the certified value at the time the ARB heard it. After settlement, we lost $23,013,947. And we spent, for these accounts, we spent $5,777 in legal fees. In June, we started out with the value of $127,654,385, and after the mediations, we've lost $12,242,045, and legal fees was $8,993. In July, we started out with $31,914,021 and lost $2,000,000 $755.94. 983. And legal fees spent on these accounts was $2,594. 2,559. So making the total for the 3 months, 17,239. And besides litigation and mediations, the appraisal district also handles arbitrations. Oh, I mean, one other thing. If you noticed on your June financial statement, the appraisal district has paid $449,320 in legal fees. Of that, $400,087 has been for attorney's fees. So, and that's basically around 156,000 for the local attorney and 244,000 for the Houston law firm. And like I was saying, the litigation department also handles binding arbitration. In 2019, there was 279 arbitrations filed, but of those, only 34 went to the arbitrator. And even though the arbitrator may find in our favor, or they'll find in taxpayer favor, we might still have to pay for the arbitrator's fees. In 2019, we paid $13,300 in arbitrator's fees. And I think we had lost something like $4,837,191 in value in arbitration. This year, we're also expecting a high number of arbitrations filed. So, I mean, this is just the beginning of the season, so we don't know exactly how many are going to be filed. The other stuff that we handle is also the State Office of Administrative Hearings. As of yet, none of those have ever been filed, so we haven't had any experience with those. So, and if you have any questions on the spreadsheets that you received, I'll try to answer questions. Eddie Perez is here. He's more familiar with these accounts.
This is a non-action. It's just informative for the board. You want to keep track of what's going on out there regarding litigation and our litigation budget, so that you can see all the work we've been doing. Not only did we have timely hearings, our litigation was working on the lawsuits from 2019 and prior. So we keep pretty busy.
Dana, for clarification, I think the amount that was mentioned was $156,000 for the local attorney and $256,000 for the Houston law firm?
Yes, sir.
Is that an annual total?
Yes. Well, this is up to the end of June.
Up through the end of June. So that's.
So we still have
6 months?
3 months of fees that we're going to be having to pay.
Remember, we're October 1, so it's from October of 19 through the end of June of 20.
In 2018-19 year, the local attorney was $172,827, and the Houston law firm was $331,351.
Thank you.
And we're basically in line with that. That's what we're going to end up for this year also.
And is this amount just for settled cases? Are there any other fees that are paid throughout the year just for like?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. If there's any
deliberations, any meetings, depositions. If a property owner says, "Hey, let's try to get together," they've already filed a suit, so the lawyers have to be involved. It also includes answering any discovery from the other side and from our side that they have to put out. So it's not just the actual hearing, it's all of the other that is involved.
It's not just mediation. There's from receiving the lawsuit to answering the lawsuit to doing discovery and then going to court for hearings, status hearings, motions, that type of thing.
Dealing with the judge, one of the things our local attorney does is work with the judge on scheduling any type of cases. Of course, courthouse, kind of closed down, so we're at the bottom of the list when they start having cases again. But Commissioner Pettis, it does include a wide range of their duties. Anything that once that lawsuit's filed, then they're in charge of making sure everything gets submitted timely to the courts, telling us what information we need to get to them and when, setting up the mediation hearings with the mediators, and taking the agreed final judgments to the judges. So it's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions? All right. The presentation. Yeah. Next item is taxpayer liaison report.
Yes, sir. We did not have Ms. Carter here in May, and we need to have her here at least 4 times, but we like to have her here more, and she's got quite a bit to catch up the board on the appraisal review board and her meeting with the judge.
Good evening, Board of Directors. Tracy Carter, Taxpayer Liaison Officer. The Appraisal Review Board did an excellent job this year adjusting to all the changes that had to be done for social distancing. And I would like to recognize all of the ARB members that were here every single day that were dedicated. They're Michael Briggs, Fred Munoz, Raul Alvarez, Gary Brooks, Silvia Calderon, Jean Dodge, Javier Dorantes, Rosa Dyer, Inez Enciso, Leopoldo Flores, Philip Gonzalez, Clyde Goodbar, Richard Gutierrez, Bobby Joe Hernandez, Jesus Lara, Leticia Macias, Earl Maxon, Josefina Mendez, Luis Mona, Waldin Quintana, Cristobal Rodriguez, Richard Romero, Eddie Thompson, Adela Torres, Joseph Turner, Roberto Uria, Irene Wagner, Albert Weisenberger, and Raul Zapata. They dedicated their time. They were here throughout the whole summer, throughout this protest season. The ARB should be finished by August 21st with hearing most of the hearings, and they'll be returning back in September to hear the motion to correct protest. And you should have received the evaluation forms in your package based on the ARB. This is not for the Central Appraisal District staff. These are addressed to the ARB. I received 8 evaluation forms. I created a chart based on 9 responses from the 1 evaluation form that I received earlier this year. And attached to the evaluation forms, you'll find my follow-up report to each of the taxpayers. I have spoken to the chairman and secretary about the taxpayers' concerns, and I have sent all the evaluation forms to Judge Linda Chu. The COVID-19 has also taken a toll on the state comptroller's ARB surveys. The CAD had to remove the computers in the lobby to make sure everyone was 6 feet apart. This year, I was able to get 312 surveys, compared to last year's 640. The past few months, I have been working outside to monitor how many people were in each department, checking temperatures, and making sure everybody was wearing a mask. I did make sure that everyone who checked in for the ARB hearing received an ARB survey. And I did have a conversation with Judge Chu to discuss her game plan on appointing the 2021 ARB members and appointing the chairman and secretary. We have 19 current positions and 8 members that have to apply for reappointment and 8 vacancies. The total positions that need to be filled will be 16. And enclosed is the timeline for appointing the ARB members. The press release has started August 16th, and another one will be out August 30th on the El Paso Times, El Paso Inc., and community organizations. The deadline for the applications will be September 30th. Applications are available on the Central Appraisal District's website. And Judge Linda Chu will start doing the interview process on October 13th by Zoom or by telephone. So hopefully by November, we'll have all the 2021 ARB members appointed and chairman and secretary. Last week, I did start working on the taxing entity website, The Truth in Taxation. I did provide all the taxing entities with instructional guides to how to register. So we've been working on that, and most of the entities have entered everything into the website. They're just waiting on their hearings to take place to enter the tax rates. Is there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Any questions, comments? Next item, we have the Chief Appraiser report.
All right. Hi, guys. I wanted to do a shout out. I'm going to give you some information on our staff and the rating from the public on them, and then a little bit about the ARB and COVID updates of the building and what we're going to be doing, and some postcards that we sent out in the mail. First of all, I will say that our HR department, Robert Garcia, Robert Maldonado, and Lupe Brijon, they worked very tightly with Tracy Carter on monitoring and manning our front door. We had tables set out front. We had, if you drove by, you saw we had tents. We had 2 tents for shade, and they vested everybody that came in, took their temperatures, signed them in, made them wait until we had an opening up on the 3rd floor. They were very, very good about getting the flow of the people in and out without having to wait too long, and keeping track with the ARB. Tony Delgado, our Appraisal Review Board coordinator, his staff, I've already mentioned them, were awesome. Mr. Delgado was really good about, again, working with the process, and we'll go through some of those numbers of what we had to deal with. Overall, because we didn't have a lot of evaluations, people wanted to come in and wanted to go out. And because we had so many online or on the telephone or remote hearings, we didn't have the opportunity for them to fill out an evaluation on how they thought things went. But we had about a 90% good and excellent rating from the public. And what I liked was some of the comments that we did receive was the staff was kind, respectful, and considerate. Thank you again for having such a friendly taxpayer process. Very courteous staff. They listened to our problems. First time protesting, a bit nervous. Your staff made me feel welcome and at ease. I really appreciate that. Everything was excellent. They went above and beyond to help. Professionalism of everyone. Most importantly, well educated. So these were some of the comments we did receive, and those are the kind of comments we like to receive. We received some of the others, and we, like Ms. Carter said, not only does she call back, but we also call back if we receive a negative to find out what happened. Majority of the time, it's because they didn't like the value that they got in their hearing. But we do follow up on those. Now, as to the hearings themselves, we certified on time at 95.46% of the number of protests that were filed. We have to be at 95, but when you look at the value that was under protest, we certified at 97.96% on time. This was quite an endeavor. We didn't even start our hearings because of the shutdowns, that we didn't start the hearings until mid-June. We normally start them in end of April. We started mid-June, and by the 20th of July, we had hit these numbers. Now, to hit those numbers, there was a lot of things different that we had to do. We had 783 online protests. That was less than we normally have, but I think what was happening is they were calling over the phone. It allows them to be able to call in over the phone, and we had telephone conferences of 2,665 of those. So I think some of our onlines went to the telephones. We also had, all the hearings were here. We had 9 panels open. Out of those 9 panels, 5 of them were set up to do video meetings like this. But we had to do things a little bit differently because there's evidence that is provided by the property owner that we have to record. So it took a lot of our IT expertise to do that. We had 9 local property tax agents that agreed to go through this process with us. And I will say it was a very successful process. So we are looking, if we go back to non-COVID, everybody here, I think we're still going to try and have panel rooms that are going to be set up for remote. Having a tax agent, because they are here all day long for multiple days, so having them be able to do that remotely was quite easier for us and the staff and for them. It really accommodated everything really well. We were able to spread out and social distance our appraisal review board members by having one less person in that room, in that panel room. So we were very, very, very excited that that turned out so well. We had about 21,000 protests were filed. Out of that protest, the agents filed about 75% of all of the protests. 25% were filed by individual property owners. Residentially, property owners only filed about 3,000 protests this year. Was not a reappraisal year for residential. There were some changes, but so some folks did come in, and of course every year we have a lot of people that protest every year. We see them every year. We get to know them by name. So we were kind of expecting that. The agents, though, they filed pretty much the same amount they normally file, 75%. The value that was filed by the agents, though, is 86% of our appraisal roll is filed by property tax agents. Majority of that is commercial. So I thought that was interesting information to give to the board. For COVID, we are still making changes to the building to be touchless. We have ordered and should be receiving anytime touchless water fountains, one for each floor. It's more of a sonar type thing, I guess. You don't touch them, and you can put a cup or a bottle and it will fill it. So we have ordered those. We've also are upgrading our air filters. We talked to our HVAC folks, and there is an air filter that we're going to be upgrading to that is recommended now because of this. It's what they call a MERV, MERV 13. We're normally, I think they said it an MVR 8. It doesn't collect all the particulates, but the MERV 13 is based on, it will collect more of the particulates, and it has guidance from the American Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning engineers. So, well, those should be being put in place. We've ordered a lot of this stuff, but because everybody else is ordering this, it's taking a while to get it, but they're supposed to be up and running. Hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have those. And as to the postcards, I'm hoping if any of you received a postcard from us, that postcard is now required by the comptroller's office. It's a truth and taxation notification to property owners to let them know that there is a phone. Can you see this? Okay, this is a postcard that went to everybody. It has to go to everybody. We do not, we create the website and make sure it's up and running. We do not put the information into the website. That information is put in by each of the taxing entities. So those of you that represent your taxing entities, they're either finance people from their OMB or whatever department they have, has to put in the information. And that information is the information regarding the tax rate, the no new tax rate, no new revenue tax rate. It has to have a contact information, who the property owner could call if they have a question. It also has to have the day and time and the place of where the hearings are going to be for the tax rates. So we do not put that information in. Maria Pasillas, the city tax assessor collector who collects property taxes for all of the entities, does not put that information in. But we are responsible for keeping that website up and running so property owners can get that information. So if anybody's asked you about these, it is not a delinquent notice. It is not a homestead refile notice. It is just informational that we now have to do per legislation to be more transparent of the taxing entities and their tax rate process. Has nothing to do with us. And that's the end of my report. If the board members have any questions for me, David, you can talk
about the disaster exemption.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Let me give you an update on the disaster exemption. Remember when we met in May, we told you that tax code section 11.35, we had some property tax agents and attorneys that were looking at that. That is a exemption that was put in place by legislature to allow a property owner to get a percentage off on their property that was damaged, that has physical damage from a disaster, a hurricane or tornado, a major wind disaster, that they can get a percentage off once the governor has declared that area disaster area. We had 5,200 applications for that disaster exemption for economic purposes. The tax code does not cover economic purposes. It is strictly for physical damage. The Attorney General sent an opinion that it was strictly for physical damage. The Attorney General, the governor also said it was for physical damage, and the author of the bill. But property owners have the right to file a protest. I denied all of the exemptions, so now the property owners will file a protest very likely on my denial. Well, they'll have a hearing with the Appraisal Review Board, and depending on that hearing, we could go on to court. This is happening throughout the state, guys. It's not just El Paso County. I want to give you an idea, and I'm going to use the county as an example because they're, encompass everything. Just at a 15% on the ones that filed for the exemption, the minimum amount that is allowed on physical damage is 15%. Just allowing that would be about a $4.2 million loss to the county of El Paso. So you can see it's big numbers, and it is something we do not expect it to be settled anytime soon. This is going to go on down the line. It will probably take a couple of years to get it resolved, and it'll take all of the appraisal districts that have this filed. I believe we're right underneath Houston on the number of applications that were filed and denials that we sent. So that was an update to the board members. This will be something that will be ongoing, and we will definitely keep you informed. We're looking at their ARB, those that have already filed a protest. They have 30 days from the date of the denial letter that went out. So we'll probably be scheduling them for around the 21st or 22nd of September if we get those protests in time. All right. I'm sorry. Thank you, David, for reminding me of that. Anything else, board members, that you may have a question on? I'm done.
No.
Well, why do you think that's the case, that we're right underneath Houston when it comes to the number of protests in the state?
I am going to say this, and I'll probably get in trouble for this, but it's because of our local property tax agents. They're the ones who filed them. And we were told by several of them that they're filing them on every account that they represent. Because they can. That's my best answer.
Appreciate the update.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, the next item is executive session. Are there any executive session items?
Commissioner Pettis, we put that on in case the board ever wants to go into executive session. We have it agendized, but we do not have anything to discuss under executive session this meeting.
As much as everybody would love to go in executive session, right? It doesn't look like. Okay.
Right?
No, appreciate. We'll appreciate everybody's participation during these uncertain times. And Dinah, thank you to you and your staff. I know everybody's there is still working in person, and so we appreciate all the work that you all put in, especially during the protest season. I know it's very busy, so thank you to everyone and for all the work. We really appreciate it.
And we're not going to stop. We're already setting up for field work and putting safety precautions in place for our 2021 reappraisal.
All right.
I second that.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Motion by Trustee Lucetta and second by Trustee Searles. All those. Is there any board member who does not approve this item? Hearing none, motion passes. All right.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye,
board
everyone.
members.
Bye,
We'll see you next month.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
It is 6:25.